Hello everyone, welcome to Ignition.
Hello, he said I had to say, today we're going to be bleeding our brakes.
Right, so today we're going to be bleeding brakes. As you can see, if you've joined us on our journey, this is our L200, and these are our lovely powder-coated calipers.
Yeah, so go back and watch where we take these from horrible rusty old bits of junk.
Yep.
I didn't really do any of it. Oh no, I did the powder coating.
And sandblasting.
But I didn't do any of the caliper rebuild.
No.
You did all of
these
that.
have been rebuilt with new, everything's new. So they are practically brand new. So they've got no fluid in them. There's a lot of air, so we need to bleed it out. Yeah, so I've got a dog biting my shoe, 1 second. So Dad's now distracting the dog, so we're going to crack on, lower the car down, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are in the engine bay. Now you might think, why are we in the engine bay as we're doing brakes? Well, this is the master cylinder at the top here. So there's a reservoir on the top to tell you the level of fluid you've got. Now this to us is on the passenger side, it's a left-hand drive vehicle. So the technique is to work furthest away to the closest of the reservoir. So we're going to start at the passenger side rear, then the driver's rear, then the passenger front, and then the driver's front. So we're working from the furthest away to the closest. Now, in our past, we've used a system that pressurizes the fluid reservoir. There's the box. Now, normally what you do is you fit a cap that fits specifically to your vehicle on the top of your reservoir, and we've been lucky in the past it fits, but in this car it doesn't.
But we've been very unsuccessful with it.
We've been lucky with fitment, we've been unlucky with the actual usage of it. It hasn't worked very well.
Supposedly it's so that you can, a one-man job, but when it pressures it, when you take it off, fluid goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So we haven't been impressed with it at all. So we're going back to using my leg.
Yeah, traditional method. We're going to just keep an eye on the reservoir, and Dad's going to pump it with his foot, and I'm going to release the fluid on each caliper and the two drums at the back. So this is my catch can. I will be using that, but that's all. And let's crack on. So you join me at the passenger side rear drum here. Now in the reservoir, obviously there's a bit of fluid, so we've drained it out with a pipette and topped it up with new fluid. So as we start flushing it through, we should see the new fluid come out. There's the old fluid. It's very, very black and it's got bits in it. It certainly doesn't look like it's been changed recently. Okay, so let me grab a grip, get a grip. Okay, you ready?
I'm born ready.
Push the brakes.
Defo?
Yep.
Floor.
Oh, there's a lot of bits in that. Off.
Off.
Okay, so what's happening here is I'm telling my assistant to press the brakes. They'll let me know when they've pressed them. I'll open the bleed valve and then I will let a fair amount of fluid flow through. Then I will close the valve and tell my assistant to release the brake pedal. Now you need to make sure that you release the brake pedal after you've closed the valve, because if you release the brakes before you close the valve, you will introduce some air back into the system. Now I'll repeat this step as many times as it takes until there is no air coming through the fluid whatsoever, also keeping in mind that the reservoir hasn't gone below the minimum line. So now I've gone to the other side, and I was a little bit confused as the drum brake didn't have a bleed valve. As it turns out, the L200, you bleed both of the brakes from the passenger side rear, which is in left-hand drive models, and the driver's side rear on right-hand drive models. Now we're moving on to the front calipers, and as you can see, I'm on the passenger side front. Now this is furthest away from the reservoir, and then I'm moving to the one that's closest to the reservoir, obviously repeating the same process as before.
Okay, so that concludes it, doesn't it?
We've got good brake pedal, we're spinning them and they're locking on.
Yep, so we've got good feel, that's the one thing. Obviously we're going to take it out for a test drive, make sure they work. So don't drive it if your pedal goes all the way to the floor, but we've got a good pedal in this case, so we're well chuffed. Topped off the reservoir with fluid, make sure it's nearish the maximum level. And that concludes the video, doesn't it? That went swimmingly.
Well, we haven't driven it yet.
We haven't driven it yet, but it did go swimmingly. So we've got a nice brake pedal.
And there's no drips.
Just make sure you tighten up your bleed nipples, and
put your bleed nipple covers on.
And covers back on. We've got new ones to go on these calipers, so we're well chuffed, and we'll take it around the block later.
So hopefully you'll subscribe. We've got a finishing video to do.
We do. So a bit like our disassembly video, we'll be reassembling.
And then we've got some driving to do so that you can see the differences of all the bits and pieces that we've done if you've watched the whole series, and we can only thank you if you have.
We'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you.